I entered this year with some of the highest expectations for gaming I've had in a long while. There were a huge plethora of AAA titles known to be dropping in 2020 that filled my heart of gamers' delight, including my most anticipated game of all time, The Last of Us Part 2. If that wasn't enough to be excited for, we even entered the new year with the knowledge of the next generation consoles landing on shelves by the holiday season. With great speculation for launch titles for the PS5 and obvious assumptions of what's to come, such as a sequel to Guerrilla's Horizon Zero Dawn, Sony Santa Monica's highly acclaimed God of War, or even Insomniac's next Ratchet & Clank adventure, which such a big fan of the series as myself can only hope for. Closing out 2019 and going into 2020, I truly felt like an unprecedented era for gaming was coming. Now that we're actually experiencing the fruit of 2020, it is saddening to say my perfect year isn't panning out the way I had fantasized. I have been struck with an unexpected case of gamers fatigue. So you may be wondering to yourself, what exactly is gamers fatigue? Imagine hitting a roadblock to no matter what game comes out, regardless of budget, genre, or hype, you just simply can't get yourself to engage into it. As you guys may or may not know, I'm a huge gamer. I have a very open-ended taste when it comes to the video games I play, and I love to play my games to full completion to the sense of even collecting the platinum trophy for everything I lay my hands on. But it feels as if I've grown tired of a lot of the experiences laid out ahead of me. Not because these games are necessarily bad, but due to the fact that I can't find a narrative to just fully suck me in. It also doesn't help that 2020 has been the year of the delay, and nearly every single major release that I was semi-hyped for has been delayed. This sent me into a spiraling loop of playing the same games over and over because I couldn't be bothered to find something to genuinely sink my teeth into. If I wasn't wasting time playing a quick jump in, jump out game, I was dreadfully wasting even more simply staring at a UI of my PS4 hoping to miraculously find the ambition to boot up my next adventure. It's times like these where I wonder to myself, is it time to find a new hobby? Or are the games that are releasing today just not up to par with the experiences I grew up with? But quite frankly, that sounds far from the truth, as video games have come a long way and continue to raise the bar in cinema storytelling, graphics fidelity, and raw gameplay. So I took a step back and did some reflection. I found that my obsession with the upcoming The Last of Us Part 2 was the root of evil. Currently, there is no other game that has piqued my curiosity like The Last of Us Part 2 has. The thing about this game is it has such a strong foundation to work off of due to the fact that Part 1 is seen as one of the greatest games of all time. Part 2 also catches the edge because it stands alone with its own unique story, but while using the advantage of having an established cast to build on top of. Also, Naughty Dog has proven the studio's efforts with Uncharted 4, and have made vast claims that The Last of Us Part 2 is their biggest game yet in all avenues. The promise this game holds just makes me feel as if any other upcoming experience isn't worth looking forward to. What makes things worse is I actually have quite the backlog of games I could tap into, so it's not necessarily that there's nothing to play that's the problem, it's the desire to play that is missing. Especially whenever my gaming intake isn't done solely in private anymore. I spend countless hours live streaming video games and interacting with my community. This is all very fun, but it also makes gaming feel like work because I'm putting focus on entertaining those who stop by my streams. I am not by any means complaining though, because live streaming is a hell of a lot of fun, but it does leave me with the feeling of not being in the mood to game. A point that I made reference to earlier but didn't fully elaborate on is nostalgia. This plays a big role in my random episodes of gaming fatigue, but also, as ironic as this may sound, it very much so greatly increases my will to play video games. Anytime a remake or a remaster of the past is announced, I'm thrilled with excitement. I can only think about the good old days, and now that I'm a trophy hunter, I can get the platinum and further dive into the experience that I adored so much in the past. Games such as Far Cry 3, which I think is the best in the series, the Ezio collection, which sports the Assassin's Creed games when they were in their absolute prime, and for a more recent approach, Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, which I instantly hopped on and sucked my time into until I fully completed all there is to see in the game. This feeling of being more psyched to play everything old over anything new gives me recollection of my feeling towards games of today. Another major issue that kills my gaming drive is the lack of unique multiplayer experiences. Today, everything revolves around the battle royale genre. What was once fresh and brand new now feels played out. What first originated as an Arma 2 mod and grew in more popularity from H1Z1 has become a smash hit mainstream success from the likes of Fortnite. After seeing the high monetary potential of a free game with a large player base riddled with a ton of microtransactions, everyone couldn't help but to follow suit. We immediately saw Call of Duty adapt this genre, and EA as well with Apex Legends. I personally don't have any issue with the genre, it's just grown stale. I immediately do enjoy Warzone though. But what has happened to the multiple flavors of multiplayer? Uncharted 3 multiplayer was something I booted up more than the Call of Duty game at the time, which was Modern Warfare 3. Even in 2013 with the hype of Black Ops 2, I was still drowning hours into Uncharted 3. Uncharted 3 already had an amazing gameplay loop, but what kept me playing was the RNG of getting random cosmetics and guns through organic gameplay. There was simply no need to buy microtransactions. It created a very rewarding aspect to the game. Another super unique, refreshing multiplayer us gamers were blessed with was the original vanilla Grand Theft Auto Online. This was an open experience that was never before seen, and it highly encouraged friend cooperation. Another gem Rockstar had up their sleeves was the Max Payne 3 multiplayer, which laid the foundation of the crew system implemented in Grand Theft Auto 5. Let me unlock a memory you may have stored away. Do you remember Skate 3? And of course, I can't forget my favorite multiplayer experience of all time, Destiny. This was my first looter shooter. The game did have its problems, such as a very lackluster campaign for the casual player, but if you truly dug deeper than the crust, you would discover one of the most social gaming communities I've ever been a part of. I'll never forget the friends I've made playing this game, friends I have now personally met up with in real life. Destiny was the last true multiplayer experience I enjoyed until things fell off. With no multiplayer to keep me engaged in the online play, I have to obviously retreat to my single player experiences, the same experiences I now feel to be growing stale. This is all what I have found to be making gaming truly not enjoyable as it once was. I always think back to my 15-year-old self, how excited I was to finally get my hands on the PlayStation 4, sitting in party chats with the homies for 8 to 12 hours at a time, jumping in and out of different games, always discussing what was upcoming and exciting. That personal aspect has been lost, especially due to the fact that game chat today is non-existent. I will say though that I have recently tapped back into that sociable factor through my YouTube channel. I feel like there's much to discuss, yet again, things still feel dry. I'm not one to be negative though. Every day I take suggestions on what I should play next, and it truly does help cure the fatigue just a bit. Despite how I feel about gaming at the moment and how horrible of a year 2020 has been, I still look forward to the multiple delayed games, and I still have high hopes that they deliver. Things can still increasingly get better with time, especially after we have our full breakthrough reveal of the PS5. Those launch titles can truly spice things up in both discussions and overall excitement for this hobby. Although my fatigue is in a very bad place currently, I have had a few games this year that I did get a lovely kick out of. I also am continuing to keep the passion up because I know better days are always coming.